Hi, everybody, and welcome to Minute to Skim It. Hannah's behind the scenes today because she was doing this masterful thing that I did not know that I knew she knew stuff, but I didn't know she knew how to do this stuff because of all the crazy cool things that are coming out from Bad Idea and the way that they're, kind of like we have to keep track of who got them, right? Because you can only get one of everything. She's making this really awesome,
Spreadsheet.
Is a spreadsheet on there? Yeah. But it has like little blocks to check off, and I don't know. Anyway, it's so cool. Hey, Pat. So it's just going to be Miss Jen doing reviews today. So this is the insane amount of books that I tried to read today. So I got most of the way there. I was this close. I was down to like 2 books to get it done. There's so many good books that are releasing tomorrow. Oh my gosh. I hope it's just going to blow your mind. This is a reminder to, when you get done watching this today, to hit up your local comic shop and make sure that you have these books you like on your list so you don't miss them. We have a spoiler-free show here, so don't worry. You don't have to go through the show with fingers in your ears. You'll be all right. And let's get started because there are so many good ones. I'm going to start with this crazy thing. Go spreadsheet Hanna. We're going to come up with some superpower name. She does have those secret powers of like super skill. We'll give you 5 minutes. Oh no. No, but I probably will after the show because I'm not a quitter. All right. This book by Image is called Geiger, and it will make sense to you when you read the book. Jeff Johns, so you know it's quality things. I actually saw today when I was kind of thumbing through my Facebook feed, one of my fellow comic book store owners kind of like posting out of like, I did not order enough of this book. And I suspect that no matter how many copies of this your local comic shop order, it is probably not enough because it's that amazing. So it's basically a story about a family who somehow they already have this like super great like fallout shelter that their dad has built for them. And the book opens with there's like imminent strikes of nukes. It's not even like it'll happen eventually. It's like totally happening. And something happens as the family is getting to go down into this really nice shelter that's like set up for lasting them years and years and years. And then kind of like jumps forward in time. And there is a character that's that character that you see on the front, which looks like a lit up like Skeletor a little bit. It gets really kind of cool because it jumps from that moment of the nukes hitting to far enough along where it looks like society has become very scavenger based, where there's rulers that are there's not like a president, they have like a king, and there's not been more than one because this is like the king's son, who you will be very entertained by. So definitely pick up or call ahead or get there first thing in the morning for a copy of this thing. There are 3 swanky covers, I believe, for this one. They're really nice. I see Richard on there. Hi, everybody. This is a fully interactive show also, so if you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, you can totally throw it up there. You can also guest, read, I guess. There's no way for you to have these books at the same time I do, but maybe you are best friends with the person who made the book. That would be cool for you to pitch in. Or maybe you're the person who made the book. You can totally chat. I read this one because I was just like, wait a minute, this cover looks really serious. Firepower, we're up to number 10 in Robert Kirkman's awesome series. And I just realized that I was a bad person and forgot to send a list off to my awesome production team. So I apologize that we don't have like the little things popping up. So I'll be very clear about which things I'm reviewing for you guys. So this is Firepower 10. This one kind of furthers that whole storyline. Main character's name is Owen. He has a family and a family life. He is kind of like the chosen one who went to go and train on the top of this mountain. His mentor who looks like an old man with a trucker hat. I know, it's great, right? Still, to me, the jury is out whether this dude is on the up and up. I feel like this guy's up to no good still, even though we're this far into the series. And right now, when you meet them in this issue, the family is finally kind of like figured out how important the dad is and what he's actually been doing, because before he never said anything. Like, ninjas would come in the house. I think the first issue when ninjas came in the house, and like he had to like fight them off without his family knowing about them. So now the family knows in this one, which is a much more healthy place. I guess you have to keep your family if your family knows you're in danger, but it can actually try to protect themselves and understand why dad disappears all the time. But this one's really like a head-to-head battle between the old students of this mountaintop, whatever, and the group that Owen and his trainer belong to. So it's awesome. There's like dirigibles and everything. All right. I know you guys were super hyped to read the next book in this series, and you'll be right to have this on your list. Noctera #2. Remember, #1 of this series, basically the sun disappears or everything just goes black. It doesn't really discuss what happens, honestly. It just has an event that just knocks out all the light. In the first issue, you find out that if they stay out of the light for a certain amount of time, they can get a disease, put it in air quotes, a disease that starts as black coloration on their gums, and that progresses, and if they don't get super exposed to some other source of light, then they themselves become these weird creatures that kind of exist. They're like, they look kind of like themselves, but like black tendrils of craziness all over them. And it happens to not just people, it happens to animals too. So there's scary things out there in the dark that are, used to be dogs or used to be skunks or whatever. So there's a lot of society that's become these weird things that are dangerous. Our main character has a group of people that have basically made themselves indispensable as movers of things and people. So they have got 18-wheelers that have like super bright lights on them, and you can pay them to take you from one place to another. And in the last issue, the #1 issue, they picked up an older gentleman and their companion, and it's become more and more clear that these guys are, they don't, in their society, they don't really trust anybody at all. So they're like, sure, that's who you say you are. And this guy's been saying for a while that he knows how to fix what's going on, reverse it, make things, so they're bright again. This one actually is really kind of heartbreaking because it goes back and shows the early days that they kind of skipped over of the event with this girl and her brother, who's also part of this 18-wheeler group. It's a really great series because it's like, I don't know, I like things that look at futures that are like, you know what, that could happen. I mean, they still didn't explain the going dark, and it doesn't make any sense that there would be a disease involved, but I mean, who knows, right? Just scary enough to be like, don't want to read it right before bed, I guess. All right. This is one that Hannah would have wanted to read. She probably would have like thumb warred me, knocked me down to get to it. So I felt guilty the whole time I was reading it. So you do want to read this. You do this. This is called The Silver Coin. And this is the first chapter called The Ticket. And this is Chip Zdarsky, so it's going to be a little bit crazy. So basically it's about a fun band that has been obviously together for many years, that has found themselves in an era that disco is kind of coming along to try to displace them. So you can kind of know what time period you're looking at there. And they're kind of getting pushed out of their regular time space at the bar they've always been playing in. And one of the band members gets, like, the mom has left their family, I guess, at some point, and there's just some like leftover boxes of randomness, and so he's going to dig through it to see if there's anything interesting in it, and he finds a coin. It just happens to be in his pocket when they have to play a set, and he uses it to strum his guitar because he lost his pick. And the coin has some kind of power that makes their music extra awesome. So that's just the beginning of what could be awesome or terrible for them. You know, it always feels like when you find these kinds of objects that there's always a caveat, that there's got to be some catch, right? When I'm trying to think of what other story is like this, where you have a something of power. Monkey's paw. Yeah, you wish on a monkey's paw and it gives you something really awesome, but then something's bad about it, right? Yeah. Yeah, if you make a deal with a djinn that comes out of a lamp, djinn usually are up to something that it seems all awesome, but you know you're always going to pay the price. So it feels like that's what's going on with the coin. So it's a really, really great book. And oh my gosh. Just in case you've gotten lost in all of the different individual issues of The King in Black that are tying through all of the other books, and are thinking to yourself, when is it going to come to a culmination of everything? Where is the big bang book that's going to happen? It's this one. King in Black #5 puts all of the storylines together, and you finally find out who possibly could best Null. When you last saw them, you saw Eddie had gotten back his symbiote. And on top of that, there was a different kind of being. I don't even know what to call it. Because so Null is the King of Black, right? King of Black. There was a King of Light also that goes into Eddie somehow. And so that's where you kind of like are at the beginning of this series, of this book of the series. You still have the whole idea what's going on with Dylan. Dylan definitely has been under the influence of Null. So you do find out what's going to happen to Null. Who's going to be in power? Who survives this whole chaos that Kate's has been putting together? And it's a really awesome, thick book, too. Really, really wonderful. It's the plot to Wonder Woman 84. It is true. You are right that it is the plot of... It's the plot of a great many books. I think the idea is the warning is that all good things that you don't just like work for might not be great. Hey, Joshua Starnes is in the room from Red 5. I did not get to open up and read all of the awesome advanced copy of the box, but I am going to... I don't try to read that right before I do this because then I won't remember what I'm doing. But it looks so good so far. I looked at a lot of the art in it. Very excited for the series. All right. I am a huge fan of Tyler Boss. That's no secret whatsoever. But this is the second book in his series. This is Dead Dog's Bite. Dead Dog's Bite 2. I know, I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me, Josh. So, Dead Dog's Bite basically takes place in this small town. It's a little bit backwards, honestly. And this kid goes by the name of Joe, but I think it's a girl. Her best friend, whose name is Cormac Guffin, has disappeared. And that's what you know when you start the first book, okay? It's unknown. We don't know if this person is dead, missing, locked in a basement. We don't know anything about that. But the main character is really good, is hunting their best friend down, and is very serious about it. This is just like the adult feel of 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, in which the young people, in this case, use bad language, and there's drug usage as part of the story. Just be aware that that's part of it. But it's the world is very real. There's only a slight, endangerment to characters in this book. There's one of the sheriff's deputies gets his arm stuck in a vending machine. But it's part of the storyline that is important, which is funny. But it really is just like a regular old non-murder mystery. But the thing that I love about this series is like, which you probably know from if you've ever been to an AMC, because they have it all over their walls, is that a MacGuffin is kind of like a thing that happens in a movie to further the plot, right? A MacGuffin. I think it's hilarious that the person that's missing, their name breaks down to core MacGuffin. So, does core MacGuffin exist, or are they just there to further the plot, that name? That's what I want to know. I tear books apart in the weirdest ways. I don't even know. But yeah, still creepy, still awesome, still don't get anywhere. You know a couple more things and that's it. Fear Case. Fear Case is an awesome book by Matt Kent. Let's see, we're at number 3 for this one. In the first 2, you find out that a thing such as a fear case does exist. It always comes with a letter, or you telling verbally, or the person that you get it from telling you verbally, that you have to give it to someone you hate, or in 3 days it will go to someone you love. And also the big caveat, there's no knowing what's in it, honestly. It doesn't say. The inference is it is very dangerous. And so this book, this issue kind of goes further along that line. There is 2 main characters that are working together. I don't know if they're like detectives, but they are also kind of like all good detective pairings are, where they kind of like dislike each other a little bit. So in this one, there is a conflict between the 2 of them that results in them kind of splitting up a little bit for part of the book, just long enough for one of them to be sent the case that they've been trying to prove that it exists in some way. So it's so cool. I love it. All right, here we go. This is Star Wars The High Republic, number 4. So we're getting pretty far in there. And the main character, which for some reason I cannot ever remember their name, starts with K and has 2 E's in it. So bad. You know, like just all Star Wars names. There's not like, oh, I know one of those. There's one of those down the block. Kiev. I mean, is there any other way to remember the word Kiev? I don't know. I can't think of a way. So Kiev is the main character. She's been trained by this guy, who I also don't know their name. I'm so bad at names when they come to Star Wars universe people. I have to have like the action figure first before I can remember the name. So they are on the trail of someone has been killed. They're on the trail of who it is. And there is a very popular race of beings that you've seen before in the Star Wars universe that are very much involved in this, which is funny because one of the dead bodies is one of these creatures. I guess you should know because these creatures do like to kill each other. They're very mafia-esque, so you can probably guess who they are now. So great, just continue on. And a reminder that for High Republic, it is not just High Republic that you need to be reading or that you can read, although you can just read the main story, I suppose. But it also ties directly to High Republic Adventures, which is the IDW Marvel crossover that is meant for all ages audience. But the reason why they release them on the same day is because probably need both of them because they do go further along in the story. There's also some graphic novels and video games and actual novels that all tie together. It is a one big universe, which is kind of cool. All right, Amazing Spider-Man. It's the one book that I'm going to tell you this week has nothing to do with the main character. Nothing whatsoever. This is number 63. And its subtitle is King's Ransom. It's really about the two characters here on the bottom. That is Robbie Robertson's son. He's the guy who took over for J. Jonah Jameson as the head dude at the newspaper. And this character right here just happens to be the daughter of Tombstone, which is like an arch enemy who works for Kingpin. So they have a little romance that's going on. We've seen that in the last couple issues. So this really brings it to a head. But funnily enough, I don't remember there being any Spidey in this book. They should just call this one those other characters' names because that's what it is at this point. But it is great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it being not Amazing Spider-Man in there, but just know it gets sticky. And the other thing we've been waiting for coming to it, it's kind of interesting that there's a bunch of stuff that's like putting its storyline. They're getting it all together for you. It's all coming together like the A-Team. This is Avengers number 44, Enter the Phoenix finale, and you do get to find out who gets to be the Phoenix. At the beginning of this book, they're down to 6 people. They're fighting for the Phoenix power. Carol, Cap, Thor, Iron Man, maybe Black Panther. There's been a cool new weapon that's been formed. They took Silver Surfer's surfboard and combined it with Mjolnir, and that weapon's been being used, which is kind of crazy cool. So this one is everything you hope for, and it's not anyone you think it's going to be, which I love, but it's the one person that makes the most sense. When you're done reading this book, you'll know you need to run out and get another book that released fairly recently from Marvel. How can I tell you things without telling you things? There's a bunch of different covers, and when it came out, you probably thought, who in the world wants this series? This is so weird. It's a single shot that doesn't make a bit of sense. Well, now you're going to know, because Marvel's smart.
Howard the Duck.
Not Howard the Duck. Not Howard the Duck. That would be hilarious.
Right?
That'd be so funny.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. When you see who it is, you'll be like, oh my gosh. How did I not figure that already? All right. Death by Life. This is an independent book that you may not have. Four Brush Man. Sure. Why not? Let's give it to, not Four Brush Man. Let's give it to, who is equally as ridiculous. Let's give it to Slapstick. It was funny when he kills us with his burning fire. Death by Life is a gorgeous book. Everything in here, yeah, and Dupe. Dupe would be good. You guys post all the most ridiculous things you might think it might be. That would be funny, but just wouldn't, would you even buy that book afterwards? Slapstick does rock. I often say that people should buy that mini series of Slapstick because it's so good. All right, this one deals with the Angel of Death, who's on the front cover, and some other characters that are obviously from that same part of the realm that are angelic, but not the Angel of Death. And this book deals specifically with a character that he's watching that makes a choice that results in an unborn child that they make a decision about. And it is just the most beautiful look at, what your choices are, kind of things. And the last page is going to blow your mind. It's really crazy cool. Terry! Hello. So if you're an addict of really gorgeous art, don't miss this tiny little imprint of a book. Let me see. I can't remember who the company is even. That's so sad. But I can't remember things. Oh, it looks like Antarctic Press. That's not even a tiny imprint. That's a good one. Maybe it's another book I'm thinking of that's tiny. Uh-oh, kicking things. I like that. Dying for drink. We have Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Red Bull.
It gives me the wings. Today was leg day, and my replacement hip and knee did not like it.
They did not like that at all?
No.
My sister,
We're out.
I have a sister-in-law who used to work for Red Bull as like in the corporate offices, and she always had like cases of Red Bull in her car. Cases. That box you can take off the table. I don't know why it's there.
Oh, here was the new poster.
Nice. All right, James Bond, Agents of Spectre. This is number 2. Yes, the second is the first, if not better. The setup for number 1 was that James gets cornered / blackmailed into kind of working for Blofeld because Blofeld has found out that one of the other members of Spectre is trying to take his spot. So he holds Felix Leiter over James Bond and says, if you don't do this for me, then I'll kill Felix. So, and Felix means a lot to Bond. So that's kind of where they left the end of the first issue. So that'll get you all caught up. And in this one, he's actually doing the job. The fun twist of the whole series is that, you would think that Bond would have to not tell M or anybody else Moneypenny, but that's not true. He totally has told them what's going on. So it's like a double cross. I don't know. Do I expect the comic to talk?
Yes.
Yep. Man goes back in time to save his wife or daughter's life. Very romantic tearjerker. Yeah. Such a good one. The name of that last comic was Death by Life, number 1. Death by Life. Forget Me Not's going to be the next host. Sure, why not? I like that one too. That would be a good one. All right, this is another amazing entry into the new heavy metal things that are coming out. So heavy metal, for a long time, has just been the magazine. Like 4 or 5 years ago, they put out one comic book that I can remember. That was The Doorman. They also, I think, put out a Tomahawk, which was an awesome Donny Cates single book. But that's it. That's it. And now, in the last 6 months or so, they've put out a bunch of amazing books that have been so good. Yes, no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Great quote.
I'm trying to be a serious person doing serious things.
Why? Why would you want to do that?
Because serious things have to happen.
So this is the next book in the series of heavy metal elements books called The Rise. The thing that's cool about this is it's by George Romero. George Romero, yeah. And it is, despite the look on the front cover, not a zombie book. Not a zombie book. This is about, it looks like government folk trying to create a super soldier, but by basically removing people's fear and pain responses and make them ultra violent. So not a good idea if you cannot also control them. That makes a bad choice. Don't do those.
That makes me a sad panda.
Sad panda. But if you like bloody awesome stuff, that's The Rise, number 1. All right, this one feels like a cautionary tale. This one's called Bloom. This one's the one that I was thinking of. It's a tiny little imprint. This is from Hero Tomorrow Comics. Bloom is interesting. It's about a fellow who has created a comic book, or he had some kind of like dream state or dream or a vision about things that happen in the woods, but he's basically just started to write a comic book about it. So it's kind of interesting the way he's been telling the story. You don't know whether he actually had the dream or was actually drunk or whatever, if it actually happened, or if he just keeps on trying to tell people, hey, there's this comic book that I'm trying to write. I'm going to tell you over and over and over. It's the same universe as Tap Dance? I didn't know that. All right, this makes it a little more clear what's going on. So he, for probably the first half of the book is mostly about him trying to get people on board to like this idea of what he's doing. It's his relationship with his fiance is a little bit awkward because of it, because everywhere he goes, you know, like go to a dinner party, what's he going to talk about? It's a comic book idea. What's so funny is it sounds like my everyday life. Like my poor husband experiences this on the daily. It may not be the book that I wrote, but it's a book I'm reading or whatever.
Like, look at that.
Yep.
Have you been telling your husband about all of it?
No, I'm sure he gets to see a part of it when he's like, because he like sleeps right next to me when I'm eating, so.
He just peeks open and it's just like blood and gore.
So this fellow goes to some musical event with his friends that he almost misses because he's too busy writing his book. But and part of the musical act is this like belly dancer that's on the front cover. And he thinks to himself, wow, she'd be great. I need to use her as like a photo study for the bad guy who's a girl in this one. He thinks that's a really novel idea, that the bad guy is a girl. So he invites her and to get pictures made of her so he can use them for his comic book. You can tell this is going to go all kinds of no place. This is going to be all kinds of bad, right? This doesn't make any sense. Don't do this, dudes. Don't ask girls if you can take pictures of them. It always means one thing to us.
Oh, it means I get to murder somebody. Like they're inviting me to murder them. Is that what it is? Are we on the same page?
Can I take a picture of you? Always equates to,
can I murder you?
No, not that.
Oh.
I want to be with you. It's just like in our minds, that's exactly what it says.
Well,
there's no other thing in our brain. We don't, and there's nothing else in your brain either. Don't be a liar.
Seriously, if somebody's like, hey, come back to my place so I can take a picture of you. It's like, oh, so you want me to murder you? Okay, let's do this.
The only exception is when Allison Sampson sends you a big list of things and say, all right, I need a picture of you looking like this and being mad at the camera and from 3/4 from around the corner. She's going to put you in a comic book. She's not a creeper. She's totally putting you in a comic book. Now you want to know why I never want your picture taken? That's right. We're going to steal your soul, Brainy. All right, this is a hot book. Boom! Got a hold of Magic the Gathering. And this is specifically Ravnica. Is that right? How do I say it right? Ravnica is the right Magic universe. It's been so long since I played Magic. How long has it been, Jen? It has been
too long.
It's been too long. It has been since like 1997 since I played Magic. In my white-green deck where I always got my booty kicked.
I never got the chance to play. Or D&D. I was so bad.
I love playing, and I was never any good at it. People with their blue deck with their circle of protection just owned me every time. Or red-black decks. Ravnica, yes! My nerd credits are still good. All right. So
your nerd credits are so high, they will never be back.
Oh no! This is I'm gonna let it right down. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Miss Jen, oh, blah, blah, blah." I read this book and didn't understand a single bit of it, except for this is about Ravnica, and there's cool characters and it's got really great art. But it's clear that if you were doing Magic or read Magic or into that universe, this will make so much more sense to you. But also, if you ever wanted to get into it and you wanted to take it seriously, if you read this one, you probably know a lot more. Not a great way to get into Magic if you have to read it in like 5 minutes for a review. Not any good then. So it is a really beautiful book. And I can tell that it would be killer if you understood why those characters were being so awesome. So I apologize. This is not me saying I don't like it. It's me saying, I don't know what's going on. All right, this one I totally know what's going on, and this is awesome. It was everything that it was slated to be. By the way, if you have not gone online to YouTube today and gone to the Bad Idea YouTube and looked at, I don't even know what it's called. It was like the real How Tankers Was Born or something. It's so funny. It's like it'll cost you 1 minute of your time. It's a 1 minute long video. It's so good. All right. And it's celebrating Tankers #1, which I hope you can see all that awesome art with dinosaurs and this giant mechs. All right. So this is the second title released from Bad Idea. This is Robert Venditti, who got in trouble with Facebook for their imagery of him driving a tank around and shooting it? I mean, why is that bad? Says girl from Texas. Sounds like an everyday weekend, right? Isn't that what you do? Go out to the land and use thermite to blow things up? I mean, that's what Texans do. That's how you remove stumps. I mean, come on. It's the way things go. All right. So tankers is amazing. So I didn't understand what the word tankers meant because the base idea of the book is about oil. I thought it was going to be talking about oil, but it's not true. That's what they call their giant mechs that they're running around in. So the story for this goes is that people in power figure out that we're running out of oil, which is true. This is actually the truth right now. We're going to eventually run out of oil because there's only so much oil on the ground and it's not making itself again. It took 50 million years for it to occur. So we're not going to have more unless what they've decided to do is to go back in time, use a giant laser to push off the meteor that came and landed on Earth and destroyed the dinosaurs. So we can wait for that one to come back around to take a whole long time to come back around. So we have another 50 million years for dinosaurs to die and create more oil. So that sounds like nothing bad can happen, right? If you pushed off dinosaur extinction by 50 million years. No, there's no big problem at all. Are you kidding me? Someone's going to get in trouble. That's nuts. So don't miss your chance to get Tankers #1, I suppose. But it's awesome. There is lots of harm to dinosaurs. So if you have a Save the Dinosaurs page, like anti-violence toward dinosaurs, this will anger you greatly. You can write letters to Robert Venditti about his damage to dinosaurs. There actually were people who are mad about it. Anyway,
No.
Dinosaurs are dead, yo. It's okay. We can't fix it. Oh, except for the birds and sharks. Sharks and alligators, yeah. They're still around. So don't miss Tankers. It's a 3-issue series. They're $5.99 a piece. So if you go to your local comic shop, you should expect to pay 3 times $5.99 because they're going to sell you all 3 to start because they have to buy all 3 because that's the rules, and so do you. So don't be mad at it. Just enjoy the ridiculousness of them driving around giant mechs and shooting dinosaurs because it's awesome. Oil doesn't come from dinosaurs. Shh. Don't say that. Oil comes from plants, but shh, don't. Who cares, right? This is called suspension of disbelief. Who does science before you write a book anyway? Who cares? No one does that. All right, this is a book that I did not get to read, but I did like the first series. Shane. I know it's on I'll do research, but I'm pretty sure it's $5.99. I asked the staff twice about it. This is Resistance Uprising #1. So the first series came out, one of the very first titles from AWA Upshot. Not all stores. So not all stores you're letting people buy just #1s. Brandy, you're a crazy boy. So this is J. Michael Straczynski. It's a follow-up for the first series. A series that started out looking like Pandemic and then became a superhero book at the end of issue #1. Surprise! Superhero. So this is moving along in that storyline. You can be sure that at some point they're going to actually try to make movies about this because the people that are behind AW Upshot like to make movies, and I like that too. So no, Shane, that's not because there's one book that comes out next. It's like $9.99. So no, it's not a price point thing. All right, and also ENIAC #2. ENIAC #2 drops tomorrow. These 2 agents are the only surviving members of the big group that got sent out to try to go and find ENIAC and to destroy it. So this actually goes from immediately from their, remember their transport got shot down at the very end of the last book. And this jumps back and forth in time. So you get to go back and see the very beginning days of ENIAC and what happened to make everything go really, really bad. So if no one knows about ENIAC, ENIAC is a supercomputer that was created. It was supposed to just tabulate like destruction of nuclear weapons and those kinds of things. But it became self-aware, obviously, and took over everything. And the problem with something like the way the ENIAC works is that because it's connected to everything, there's no way to be secret and away from it. Because if you don't have, like, if you become a Luddite and you don't carry a phone and you don't have anything on you that has any electronics, the satellites in the sky can still see by a drone. We can use a listening device. There's like so many ways that ENIAC can get to you. So there's a huge twist in this book that you find out about 2/3 of the way in, which is so cool.
What they tweet.
Mm-hmm. About the early days and what happened and how ENIAC is not alone. All right. And this is, I did a really awesome talk with the creators of this book. Mr. Sandlin and I had a talk. This is Grim Tales of Terror Quarterly, H.H. Holmes, which, do not get confused, nothing to do with Sherlock Holmes whatsoever. That was me. When I read the title, I was like, oh, look, it's a Sherlock Holmes books. Nope, that's not it. H.H. Holmes was this famous serial killer. So if you like, I guess, true crime mixed with pretend crime and love everything from Grim Tales of Terror, this is for you. Really great. It's 72 pages of content. 72? Holy cow, that's a lot. Batman's actually the creator of ENIAC and created to destroy OMAC. That would work. That would work. Oh, the murder castle in Illinois? No? Is that the doctor? I thought that was the Black Dahlia.
Yeah, that's the guy, Jen.
Really?
H.H. Holmes had the murder castle in Illinois.
Okay, well, there you go. I love it. Murder castle. Now no one needs to read the story. That's right. I'm sure it's going to roll out differently than what you expect. Because otherwise, you just read the true crime stuff. Let's see. Nottingham #2 was one of the books I didn't get to read. Cry all the crimes. But I can guarantee you that there's not enough of these out there, because when issue #1 came out, it was already sold out at distribution, and #2 was already sold out at distribution. So the only way that we could get any more was to order #2's second prints, which don't come out for a while. So hit up your local comic shop as early as you can. Yep. Oh, look at, there you go. There is an actual book about the actual character, the actual person. So that's perfect. So remember that for Nottingham, it is really the sheriff of Nottingham trying to hunt down a serial killer who is killing tax collectors, which just makes everything difficult for him, right? And the bad guys are not who you expect. I mean, you have bad guys that are historically not the bad guys when you talk about Nottingham-related stuff. And it's got such a great art style. So, so good. And look, I finished at the exact time I was supposed to. Yay, me. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for a minute to skim it. Don't go anywhere, because we have lots more talking to be doing with Kyle and shop talking. And that's it. There's so much more other stuff. Make sure you connect with your local comic shop by using comicshoplocator.com, and I'll see you guys next week.